So friends, welcome back to my channel MedTales with Atharva. और आज हमारा वीडियो है about the disorders of sexual differentiation of the XY type. Okay? So मतलब जब XY 46XY is the genotype or the karyotype, लेकिन उस जो sexual differentiation that is improper and there is some disorder. So let us discuss these disorders of XY DSTs. Okay? मेरा already I have uploaded एक video. ठीक है, one video I have already uploaded जो कि हमारा it is about the basics of the sexual differentiation. So please watch that video first and then come back to this video. Otherwise it will be a bit difficult इस video को समझने में, थोड़ी difficulty हो सकती है. तो please आप उस video को पहले देख लीजिए and then you can come back to this video. The basics of sexual differentiation का video का जो link है I will put it in the description. So please watch it from there. Now the XY DSTs. XY DST means the disorders of sexual differentiation when the karyotype is XY, that is 46XY. Now, the first thing that we will discuss today, the first disorder that is about the 5-alpha reductase deficiency. The 5-alpha reductase deficiency. Now, what is the function of this enzyme 5-alpha reductase? It is responsible for conversion of testosterone into DHT, and DHT is the more potent hormone or androgen compared to that of the testosterone. So testosterone will be acted upon by 5-alpha reductase, and what will form? It will form the DHT hormone. Okay, that is dihydrotestosterone. Okay, now this is more potent. What is the importance of DHT? It is more potent androgen. Okay, testosterone, DHT, these are all androgens, and this is more potent. This is lesser in potency. Okay. Now, if 5-alpha reductase will be deficient, DHT won't be formed. Testosterone is normal. The testis is normal, everything is normal, testosterone is normal, it is formed, but it will not be able to convert into its more potent form, that is the DHT. That is the defect that will happen. So what will be the resultant? See, because testosterone is absent, testosterone is present and the testes are normal. First thing is testes are normal. So the testes will also produce the MIF. Okay, MIF is present because testis is normal. What is MIF? If you have seen my video about the basics, it is the Mullerian inhibitory factor, also known as AMH, anti-Mullerian hormone. So because this is present, because the testis is normal, there will be Mullerian duct involution. Okay, so there will be Mullerian duct involution or degeneration, whatever you want to say. So Mullerian duct will be degenerated. Now testosterone, what will it do? DHT we don't have, but testosterone is present. So testosterone, because it is present, it will act upon the Wolffian duct. So the Wolffian duct develops into male internal genitalia. It will develop into the male internal genitalia. So Mullerian duct will be involuted, so we will not have female internal genitalia. That's for sure. Matlab, obviously, because we have XY, we should not have female internal genitalia. So we don't have that. But and the Wolffian duct will form the male internal genitalia. No problem regarding this. Let us move forward. Now DHT is not present. I'll just remove these 2 points. Please note down by pausing the video. So what happens? Now DHT is absent. So if DHT is absent, what will happen? The external genitalia, the precursors of the external genitalia, ठीक है, that is present in the embryo, the embryo or in the intrauterine life, the external genitalia precursors, they need a very potent androgen to form the male internal genitalia. Sorry, male external genitalia. Very sorry, male external genitalia. So the external genitalia will be, but because DHT is absent and only testosterone is present, which is less potent, it will lead to ambiguous genitalia formation. So there will be ambiguous external genitalia. So there will be ambiguous external genitalia. Now, what is ambiguous? It is neither properly male nor properly female external genitalia. So it will not be clitoris, not be penis. It will be somewhere between. Also, it will not be a proper labia majora, or it will also not be a proper scrotum. It will be somewhere in the middle. So that is known as the ambiguous external genitalia, and that is why, because as soon as the baby is born, this ambiguous external genitalia will lead to the diagnosis. That is why the diagnosis occurs at birth. The diagnosis, it occurs at birth only. We do not need to wait for amenorrhea to occur or something, which we will just now see what happens in the other two types of DSDs. But here the diagnosis will be there at birth only, and we will be able to see that there is the ambiguous external genitalia and all. Okay. What is the treatment for this? The treatment is androgen supplementation. The treatment is androgen supplementation. So this is the treatment. So this was one of the things. It is the 5-alpha reductase deficiency. Now let us move on to the second disorder of XY. Please note this down. I'll rub it off. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to discuss is about this point number 2. What is the defect in this? The next thing is, it is the androgen receptor defect. So the name, I am telling it here only, the name of this disease, this condition, it is the androgen insensitivity. Androgen insensitivity syndrome, also known as AIS. That is, in short, it is known as AIS. It is also known as it is another name, aka the testicular feminization syndrome. So it is androgen insensitivity or testicular feminization syndrome. Both are the same things. What happens here? The androgen receptor is defective. Androgen receptor is defective, or it is resistant to the androgens. Androgens won't be able to work. Okay, so androgens are present. The testis is normal. Androgens are being produced. 5-alpha reductase is also normal. DHT is also being produced. So there is no problem with the androgens, no problem with the testis. The problem lies with the receptors of the androgen. So because androgen receptor is defective, so defect is in the androgen receptors. Androgen receptors are defective. R is for receptors. So the androgen receptors are defective. Now, because testis is normal, MIF will be produced. So what will MIF do? MIF will act on the Mullerian duct and lead to Mullerian duct degeneration. ठीक है? So Mullerian duct नहीं रहा. That means the internal genitalia cannot be female because AMH or MIF is present. The testis is normal, so this will be present. Now what happens is, there is testosterone, there is DHT, everything is present, but it will not be able to act on the androgen receptors. It will not be able to. So if it is not able to act on the androgen receptors and show its action, it is almost as if it is not present. So if hormone is not showing its action, that means you can also correlate it with that the androgen itself is absent. The hormone itself is absent, or the androgen itself is absent. So what happens is this can be correlated with absent androgen, and that is why there is Wolffian duct involution also, or degeneration. So the Wolffian duct degenerates. Okay? There is Wolffian duct degeneration. Why? Because the androgens are present but they are not able to show their action. Okay? Because of defective androgen receptors. What will be the next thing? If now there will be, so if Mullerian duct is degenerated, Wolffian duct is degenerated, so there is no internal genitalia. There is no internal genitalia at all. So we don't have any internal genitalia. There is no internal genitalia. Okay? What about the external genitalia? External genitalia, if you have seen my previous video, you must be knowing that external genitalia, in absence of any hormone, what it will be forming by default? It will be forming the female external genitalia. Now, the female external genitalia will be formed because there is androgens present. DHT is present. It is the most potent, but the DHT cannot act. So there is no meaning of its presence also. So external genitalia will be by default, it will form the female external genitalia. So there is no internal genitalia and the external genitalia is female. That is the thing that will happen in the androgen insensitivity syndrome. But now since the external genitalia is female, so at birth we won't be able to diagnose. Nobody is going to do the hysterosalpingography at birth only, HSG or any USG or anything. We are not going to do at birth itself. So we will not be able to diagnose this. At birth it will be presenting as a normal female child. So I'll remove and I'll tell what happens further when it is diagnosed. So it will be diagnosed at the time of puberty. So diagnosis at puberty due to amenorrhea. Obviously it is a normal female child by birth. At birth, since birth only, the person will be treated as a normal female child. Although the karyotype is XY only. This is XY DSD we are talking to. The karyotype is XY only because there is testis also present. But the diagnosis will be occurring due to amenorrhea. It will occur due to amenorrhea because the person is being grown up as a normal female, but she is not having any menses. There is no menstruation, or you can say no menarche. Okay? So due to the amenorrhea, the person will come to the hospital, the gynecology OPD or wherever. So what will happen? Then the diagnosis will be done and we will find out by HSG or anything that there is no internal genitalia. In fact, the vagina is also not complete because upper one third of the vagina is part of the Mullerian duct formation. So that will also be not there. So even the vagina is incomplete. Only the lower 2/3 will be present. So this is how the diagnosis will be made. Now you might be thinking that what about the breast? So the breast development is normal development. The breast development will be normal. Why? Because the androgens that are present, androgens are present in the body. There is no lack of androgens, but those androgens will be converted peripherally. Androgens, they will be aromatized by peripheral aromatase into the estrogen. Okay? Because the androgens are not being able to act anywhere. So the androgens which are being accumulated, they will be converted by peripheral aromatase into estrogen, and this estrogen will lead to normal breast development, or normal thelarchy will be present, but menarche is absent. So that is why the patient is coming. Next, one important thing that is really very important to diagnose and to actually, because there is a differential diagnosis of this AIS, that is MRKate syndrome. This is one important thing that can help you differentiate. So axillary and pubic hair, it will be absent. The axillary and pubic hair will be absent. Why? Because axillary and pubic hair, it requires androgen receptors. Even in males or in females, the axillary and pubic hair will be developed only in presence of androgens. So now here the androgens are there, but the androgen receptors are not functional. So if they are not functional, how will the androgens act, and how will the secondary sexual hairs will grow? So these will be absent. In case of MRKate syndrome, this is present, because there is something that is Mullerian agenesis, which we will discuss. So this is the thing. One more important thing that is happening over here. So these are certain points that we will see that is seen in this syndrome. One important thing, that is bilateral. This is bilateral inguinal mass, or you can say hernia, is present. Okay. So what is this bilateral inguinal mass? That is actually both the sides, because there is no testes, there is no scrotum. Okay. The external genitalia is proper male, proper female external genitalia, and male external genitalia is absent. So where will the testes go and where will it descend down? Okay. It doesn't have any scrotum. So it will be present in the inguinal region only as two small masses on both the sides. Okay. So these masses is actually nothing but the testes, and because they are not properly being able to function, okay, because the androgen receptors are not working and everything, so it is not able to function. So what will happen? They will have carcinogenic tendencies. Okay. So these are actually nothing but the testes, and they have carcinogenic potentiality. So due to that, it is very important to remove these testes. That is, bilateral gonadectomy is very important. So let us come to the treatment for this disease, for this syndrome. So what is the treatment? The treatment is nothing but, the first thing, there is estrogen supplementation is required from outside. Okay, estrogen supplementation is given from outside, and the most important thing is there should be bilateral gonadectomy due to the carcinogenic risk of the testes. Okay, bilateral gonadectomy is also very, very important. What happens is a very, very interesting thing, that these females, actually the AIS females, AIS persons, these people are very beautiful, and in fact they are one of the supermodels. She's there in Vogue and everything. That is Hannah Gaby ODL. So you can search it on the Google. So she has androgen insensitivity syndrome or the testicular feminization syndrome. Okay. So this is the treatment, and this is the AIS. Now let us move on to the last XYDSD that we will be discussing. So the third one is complete gonadal dysgenesis. Complete gonadal dysgenesis. Okay. So we are talking about complete gonadal dysgenesis. What happens is, that is, the gonads are not properly developed, and in this case we have the testes as the gonads, but they are not properly developed. So this is also XYDSD. The testes are not properly developed. That means if testes are not properly developed, MIH is absent. Sorry, MIF, that is the Mullerian inhibitory factor is absent, if MIH is absent, what will happen? If MIF is absent, the Mullerian duct will be patent and it develops into the internal genitalia, the female internal genitalia. Okay? It will develop into female internal genitalia. So this is the thing. Also, now the androgens, actually not just testosterone, because the testes are not functional properly, so what happens is the androgens are absent. Androgens, they are absent, and hence the Wolffian duct, what will it do? It will undergo degeneration. So Wolffian duct, it degenerates. What about the external genitalia? The external genitalia, it will be female. Why? Because we don't have any hormones, but by default external genitalia has tendency to produce the female external genitalia. That is why the external genitalia will be female only. Even the internal genitalia is female. So there is no ovary. The testis is also not properly developed. But the internal as well as external genitalia both are female. So it is a complete female. It is a complete female and almost a complete female without testes and having a dysgenesis, gonadal dysgenesis, that is testicular dysgenesis, that is present. So testes are present, but they are not functional, and they are like streak ovaries are present. Such like that only. Here also this is not streak testes, but they are like dysgenesis or non-functional testes. Okay. So this is the internal and external genitalia. What about breast? Okay. Diagnosis cannot be done the diagnosis will not be done in the when the female is born. Okay. At the time the baby is born, it won't be able to be diagnosed. Okay. Nothing can be seen because the vulva and the external genitalia is totally proper normal, and that is the diagnosis. That is what we say. But female, beti hui hai. That is the thing. So when does the diagnosis happen? So the diagnosis, it occurs again due to amenorrhea. It again occurs due to amenorrhea because when the female comes to the gynae OPD, there is no menarche, so that is where she will come. Now what about the breast development? Here, breast development is here the breast development. What do you think? Whether it will be present or absent? So the breast development here is absent. Because there is no androgens present. Okay? There is no androgens present, and there is no androgens present. So what happens is they will not be able to get aromatized peripherally. So how will the estrogen form? So that is why breast development is absent. So there is no thelarchy. What next? Axillary and pubic hair. Axillary and pubic hair will be present. The axillary and pubic hair will be present because the small amount of androgens that are present, that are formed by formed by the adrenal gland, will be sufficient to form the secondary sexual hair. Okay. For the growth of secondary sexual hair, that small amount of androgens produced by the adrenal gland is sufficient. Okay. But it is not sufficient for aromatization and formation of breast, for developed thelarchy. But this will happen. This will happen because here there is no problem with the androgen receptors. Small amount of androgens will be produced by the adrenal, which will give rise to this. Now, what is the treatment? The treatment is, again, we go for estrogen supplementation, and we also need to do one more thing, which we did in the last syndrome also, What is that? That is the bilateral gonadectomy. That is the bilateral gonadectomy. And because these are so here there at least the testes were normal. Here the testes are totally abnormal. They are not non-functional, totally non-functional and abnormal. So they have high risk of testicular carcinomas, and that is why it is very important to remove them. So this is about the XY disorders of sexual differentiation. Okay. So note it down, please note it down, and I'm really glad that you watched this video till the end. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and also please let me know in the comment section which videos you want to see in the future. And the next video will be about the disorders of sexual differentiation, which are present in XX chromosomes also. And we will also discuss some of the other type of sexual disorders, that is disorders of sexual differentiation, in the further videos. Okay, thank you so much.